I'm Mike, and welcome to Navy Network. 0142 UTC, North Atlantic Ocean. The sea is black and cold. Rain lashes across the deck of a $13 billion fortress of steel. Beneath the flight deck, elevators hum, weapons roll, and men move with purpose. Above, a thunderclap erupts. Not from the sky, but from an electromagnetic catapult launching 30 tons of jet and fuel into darkness. One ship, one crew. Hundreds of strike missions in a single day. What lies below this deck could change the outcome of any conflict in minutes. This is not just a ship. This is the beating heart of American power. I'm Mike, and today, we're unlocking the secrets of the most powerful and deadliest weapons on U.S. aircraft carriers right now. From stealth fighters and rail-like catapults to drone interceptors and directed energy weapons, we'll break down how these floating cities dominate every domain of war. An aircraft carrier's deadliest weapon isn't hidden in its hull. It's the air wing perched above it. The Ford-class supercarrier carries around 75 combat aircraft and at full tempo can launch 160 strike missions in a single day. During surge operations, that number climbs near 270, more than many nations can fly in a week. Each of those missions might involve F-35C Lightning IIs, stealth aircraft designed to remain invisible to radar, seeing and striking before being detected. Their helmet displays allow pilots to look through the jet. Every sensor, radar feed, and infrared signature merged into a single real-time picture of the battlefield. They are flying computers, connected to satellites, destroyers, submarines, and other fighters in one vast data web. When one F-35 sees an enemy, the entire fleet sees it too. Beside the Lightning stands the FA-18EF Super Hornet, the veteran of carrier aviation. It might lack stealth, but it brings speed, agility, and versatility. It can switch from dogfighting to bombing in seconds, launching air-to-air sidewinders 1 minute and Maverick missiles the next. And in 2024, the Hornet gained something terrifying. The AIM-174B Gunslinger, a long-range air-to-air missile adapted from the Navy's SM-6 interceptor. It turns the Super Hornet into a sniper. Enemy bombers, once safe hundreds of miles away, can now be struck without warning, at hypersonic speeds. That single innovation changed the balance of air combat over the ocean. Because distance, once a shield, has now become irrelevant. Old carriers relied on roaring steam catapults, loud, powerful, and punishing to the aircraft they launched. The Ford class replaced all that with the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, or EMALS. It uses magnetic force instead of steam, accelerating aircraft with perfect precision. That means less stress on the jet's frame, shorter turnaround between launches, and the ability to launch a wider range of aircraft. From light drones to heavy strike fighters, each launch consumes a pulse of energy equal to powering a small town. And yet, it's controlled down to the millisecond. Recoveries are handled by the Advanced Arresting Gear, a computerized braking system that uses electric motors to gently stop aircraft weighing tens of thousands of pounds. It's smoother, safer, and more efficient, and allows pilots to land again and again without damaging the deck. Together, EMALS and AAG keep the carrier's tempo relentless. Every minute saved means more aircraft in the air, more weapons on target, and less time for the enemy to breathe. Beneath the deck lies the carrier's circulatory system, the advanced weapons elevators. They move missiles, bombs, and torpedoes from deep storage to the flight deck. There are 11 of them, each powered by electromagnetic motors instead of cables or hydraulics. They can lift over 12 tons of ordnance in under a minute. And unlike older systems, they travel directly to the launch areas without crossing human traffic lanes. That means faster reloads, fewer risks, and continuous pressure on the target. On a Ford-class carrier, a strike jet can land, refuel, reload, and relaunch within 20 minutes. In modern warfare, that speed is the difference between dominance and defeat. It wasn't easy. These elevators were once the most troublesome feature of the Ford. But after years of redesign, they now move bombs like clockwork. Silent, fast, unstoppable. Every strike, every interception, every missile fired depends on one thing: information. Enter the E-2D Advanced Hawkeye -, a twin-engine airborne radar station that controls the entire battle space. Its massive rotating dish scans hundreds of miles in every direction, tracking enemy aircraft, missiles, and ships all at once. If the carrier is the heart, the E-2D is the brain, coordinating every aircraft, destroyer, and submarine within range. And when the enemy tries to jam those communications, the EA-18G Growler steps in. This electronic attack jet doesn't fire bullets. It fires silence. With its ALQ-218 and ALQ-249 jamming pods, it shuts down enemy radar, scrambles their targeting systems, and blinds them to everything happening around them. An enemy without vision is already defeated. The Growler makes sure of that. War at sea is no longer about one ship against another. It's about networks, sensors, shooters, and satellites working as one. The U.S. Navy calls it the Naval Integrated Fire Control System, or NIFCCA. It links destroyers, aircraft, submarines, and space-based assets into a single shared targeting network. Imagine this. A radar deep in the Pacific detects a hostile fighter. That data travels instantly to a destroyer hundreds of miles away. A Super Hornet receives the coordinates, locks its AIM-174 missile, and fires, hitting a target it never even saw. That's the modern kill chain, a chain where every link, ship, jet, or satellite can act as one weapon. It's no longer about who pulls the trigger first, but who sees the battlefield first. And in this arena, the United States sees everything. But even the most powerful strike group can be attacked. Cruise missiles, hypersonic weapons, drone swarms. So how does a carrier survive? With layers. Defenses stacked like armor plates, each one designed to intercept a different kind of threat. The outer shield begins with the Arleigh Burke destroyers escorting the carrier. They carry Aegis combat systems and vertical launch cells packed with SM-2 and SM-6 missiles, capable of striking targets more than 200 miles away. They eliminate bombers, ballistic missiles, and even surface ships long before they close in. The mid-layer is the evolved Sea Sparrow Missile Block II, an agile defender guided by active radar, built specifically to counter supersonic sea-skimming missiles. It's the fast interceptor, the one that meets the threat halfway. And if anything breaks through those walls, the inner defense takes over. The rolling airframe missile and CRAM systems fire small, agile interceptors, guided by radar and infrared. And finally, the Phalanx CIWS, a 20mm Gatling gun that fires 50 rounds per second, creating a curtain of tungsten so dense that few threats ever survive crossing it. Above it all, the Ford-class carriers use the dual-band radar, a system capable of tracking hundreds of targets at once, from stealth jets to low-flying cruise missiles. It's not just detection, it's coordination. A battle management center made of steel, code, and precision timing. Every second saved, every target tracked, is another life spared. But in 2025, a new kind of enemy arrived. One that doesn't roar, but buzzes. Cheap, fast, and swarming by the hundreds, drones have become the ultimate equalizer for weaker forces. A $5,000 drone can now threaten a billion-dollar warship. The US Navy's answer? Coyote and Roadrunner, two counter-drone systems that intercept threats without wasting million-dollar missiles. The Coyote, built by Raytheon, uses small kinetic interceptors guided by radar and infrared, while the Roadrunner M from Anduril flies out, kills the target, and, if not destroyed, returns for reuse. They are the modern-day guard dogs of the carrier strike group, cheap, fast, and endlessly scalable. For the first time in naval history, America can match the economy of the drone threat. With cost-effective defense, innovation turning problems into weapons. For decades, a carrier's greatest limitation was range. Jets could only fly as far as their fuel allowed, but that limit just disappeared. The MQ-25 Stingray is the Navy's first unmanned aerial refueling aircraft, a drone that keeps fighters in the air longer and extends the carrier's striking distance by hundreds of miles. Since 2021, it's refueled Super Hornets, E-2D Hawkeyes, and even the F-35C Lightning II in mid-air. Each successful test pushes the boundary further, turning a single carrier into a global force. Every drop of fuel delivered by the Stingray means fewer vulnerable tankers and more time on target. It's not just a support craft, it's a multiplier. In the next decade, entire swarms of MQ-25s could patrol far beyond the fleet, carrying sensors, jammers, or even weapons. The era of unmanned wingmen has begun. The Ford class isn't just about what it carries now. It's about what it's ready to carry. Each ship generates nearly 3 times more electrical power than the older Nimitz class. That extra energy isn't wasted. It's waiting for the weapons of the future. Directed energy weapons, military-grade lasers capable of destroying missiles at the speed of light. They fire silently, invisibly, and cost almost nothing per shot. Picture this. An incoming missile screams toward the fleet. Before it even crosses the horizon, a laser turret locks on. And in less than a second, the target vaporizes. That's not science fiction. The technology exists, and the Ford class is already built to power it. When those systems are finally deployed, they'll turn the world's most powerful carrier into the first energy-based warship in history. Not all of the carrier's power sits on the surface. Deep below, hidden in the dark, sails the Virginia-class attack submarine, the silent protector of the strike group. Armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles and advanced torpedoes, it hunts enemy submarines, stalks hostile fleets, and can strike land targets hundreds of miles inland. No radar can see it. No sonar can easily track it. While the carrier draws the enemy's attention, the Virginia silently positions itself for the kill. If the carrier is the sword, the submarine is the dagger in the dark. The unseen force that ensures no one gets close enough to strike. But steel and circuits mean nothing without the people who operate them. Over 5,000 sailors live aboard each carrier. They work in shifts around the clock, launching aircraft, maintaining systems, arming missiles, and keeping the ship alive like a floating city. Engineers monitor nuclear reactors the size of houses. Aviation crews refuel jets between launch cycles measured in minutes. Weapons teams load ordnance with surgical precision, while radar operators scan skies that never stop moving. Each sailor is a part of a rhythm, a machine of human coordination that never sleeps. When combat comes, there is no hesitation. Every action, every movement, every order has already been rehearsed 1,000 times. It's that discipline, not the technology, that makes the difference between chaos and control. And that's what separates a carrier from a ship. It's not the weapons on board. It's the people who make those weapons unstoppable. The system has been tested, not in theory, but in battle. In the Red Sea, U.S. carriers faced waves of drone and missile attacks, from rebel and proxy forces using Iranian-made weapons. The result? Hundreds of threats intercepted. Not a single carrier damaged. The layered defenses, the growlers, the destroyers, and the integrated fire control network all worked together. Exactly as designed. The enemy never even saw what hit them. For every intercepted drone, a dozen others were taken out at their launch sites by carrier-based strikes hours later. It's real proof. Proof that these ships don't just project power, they define it. But perhaps the greatest weapon a carrier wields is not its missiles or aircraft, its presence. When a U.S. carrier strike group appears on the horizon, the message is clear. We're here. We can reach you, and we don't miss. That single sight, the silhouette of a carrier at sunset, has stopped more wars before they started than most weapons ever fired. Enemies hesitate. Allies breathe easier. Because they know what follows behind that ship. 5,000 Americans, countless aircraft, and an arsenal that can end any fight before it begins. That's not intimidation. That's deterrence. Peace through strength. What's built for combat often reshapes civilian life. The technology behind carrier operations, radar systems, advanced alloys, power distribution, and electromagnetic launchers, feeds into innovations that shape the modern world. From aviation safety systems to power grid stability and AI coordination, the lessons learned aboard these ships echo far beyond the Navy's reach. Each carrier is not only a fortress, it's a floating laboratory, a symbol of how innovation and defense can drive an entire nation forward. These warships represent more than might. They represent the idea that peace must be protected. Every missile launched, every fighter that takes off, every defensive system that activates exists for one reason: to prevent war before it starts. Because the presence of overwhelming force keeps the world from sliding into chaos. The American carrier doesn't just defend a nation, it defends an idea that freedom of the seas belongs to all. The most powerful and deadliest weapons on U.S. aircraft carriers are not just made of steel and circuitry. They are made of courage, precision, and dedication. Every sailor, every pilot, every engineer is part of a machine greater than any individual. A machine built not for conquest, but for protection. These carriers don't just win wars, they prevent them by making the cost of aggression too high for any enemy to pay. That's the real power of America's carriers, and that's why they remain the ultimate guardians of the sea. If you enjoyed this deep dive into America's naval strength, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Navy Network, and join me, Mike, for the next mission where forces connect.